get on top of it. Hey, what's going on YouTube? So with the announcement of the recent patch for DNF Duel that should be coming out this Monday, today is Saturday the 27th. I wanted to record a little video basically describing a few changes that I'd pick for every single character on the roster. After playing this game for about 2 months in its current state with no changes, right? It gets a little stale, but it's a really fun game regardless, right? Hey, hello YouTube, what up Phantom Souls? I do think that there's a few changes that every character could get, right? Even if they're not the best or the worst, every character could use some changes, right? Just to sprucing things up, kind of change up the balance and make everyone feel a little better about playing the game, right? Because this game has lost a lot of players with this Swift Master Striker Hitman meta that's really dragging people down and making people not want to play the game. So let's get started, right? We're gonna start right here, right where the roster starts. The roster starts us at Berserker. What do I think? One, let's talk about this character's viability. We'll talk about every character's viability in a quick way. I think this character is high tier. I think this character is right under the cusp of being part of that top tier, like top tier 4 or 5 characters that can win games, win majors, right? Berserker is a very strong character. I don't think he needs much to push him above the top tier characters. I think the best thing that they can give this character is a more consistent anti-air angle, right? His jump, his jumping button doesn't lead to the same kind of things that GHOSTBLADE does, right? Like a lot of characters with these big sweeping giant air-to-air normals can get more off of them. He doesn't have that. So he either needs a more consistent anti-air angle, because there's a lot of angles where you can jump at him and he can't do anything, or give him the kind of air-to-air treatment that GHOSTBLADE has, right? And I think that's all this character really needs. If there's anything I would take away from him, I think that Blood Tornado should be less plus, right? The pull-in, I think it should be less plus. It's very powerful. One of the strongest moves in the game, in my opinion. But if we're just going strictly on buffs, so we kind of want to buff everyone, tune everyone to about the same strength, that's what I think we should give him. Now, Vanguard, holy moly, this character needs a lot. His movement speed is way too slow. I think that his movement speed is probably what holds him back the most. This is a bottom tier character, right? So let's try to do these all the same. Let's start with viability. His movement speed is too slow, very slow, right? He's supposed to be a neutral ground monster who can pretty much stop you from doing anything on the ground, right? He's supposed to be the one who, yeah, Van Main here, yeah, your character needs a lot, Cisco. I think that basically, if we're going simple, he needs better ground speed and maybe a better guard cancel. Sure, the weakness of having a really bad DP is annoying, but I think like there's got to be some sort of a weakness to each character, right? And I think the weakness of him having a bad DP that only is like an anti-air move, that's fine. But give him a stronger guard cancel. Maybe make his giant swipe his new guard cancel animation, so it's very similar to GHOSTBLADE. I think that it's funny that the first two characters I've talked about, I kind of want to give them GHOSTBLADE styled moves because you guys will see how I feel about GHOSTBLADE here in a second. I don't think he needs much to be top tier. Anyways, just that basically, and maybe a faster 5A. I think a faster 5A might really help this character in the scramble situations, right? Because his 2A is very small. Against the characters that have better range, like Crusader, well, similar range, Crusader, GHOSTBLADE, Ranger, Berserker, he kind of loses in those scramble situations because his 2A is so minuscule and his 5A isn't fast enough. I think that's all this character could use to like push him to like the mid tier. I'm not trying to like break the character, make him the best character in the game. I don't really want any character to be super overbearing and be the best character in the game, right? Launcher. God bless. God bless. Man, I've been playing this character. She's actually really bad. She's super fun, but she's fun because of how hard you have to work, and I don't think that that's a good thing. Her health pool and her height is really an issue. She's got a decent amount of health, but her height gets her like eat up just as bad as a character like Crusader. While she has a real DP, her real DP isn't super good against a lot of the cast. A lot of the cast has very strong safe jumps to her DP, and the range on it isn't phenomenal. Her guard cancel, while pretty solid, any jumping attack, you can't really guard cancel. The hitbox isn't very big. Maybe make that hitbox of her guard cancel bigger. Also, by the way, bottom tier character, lowest character in the game. Like to hit standing. Maybe have a follow-up like Inquisitor DP. Yeah, so it'll get him out of random things. Sure, I think maybe if they did something like that with his guard cancel, I would like that more. It's kind of sad that, you know, you can just 2A his DP for the most part with most characters and you get out of it. But anyways. On to Launcher. I think that they could make the hitbox to her guard cancel bigger. Maybe make her 5A just a little bit faster and reduce the hurtbox on it. The hurtbox on, you can actually hit her guns, right? If you do like a jumping button and the jumping button would trade with her guns, it just outright beats the guns, because the guns are part of her hurt box but do not count towards the hitbox. The fire at the ends does, and the tip of the barrel. If I were to show you guys the hitbox, you'd understand what I mean. Her hurt box is extremely extended when she's doing her 5A and her 2A and flamethrower, right? I think that maybe flamethrower, they could add a little less recovery to it. It's got a very big whiff recovery, and it's like -14 on block, I think, right? So maybe make it less punishable on block, because there are a lot of characters who can straight up punish it. At -14, a lot of the roster can straight up punish it because they can dash forward first, and make it so that the hurt box on it is shrunken, right? Because she's holding the gun. I don't think the gun should inherently be part of her hurt box for the most part. That's all I really want. Like, honestly, if I was gonna like buff her even more, I would say make her 6S faster. Like, give 6S less startup and less recovery, right? So that she could kind of really shotgun that 6S as a button to force you to crouch or force you to roll and force interactions where she, as the zoner, is making you have to squirm, right? Because there's a lot of her buttons that don't really make you squirm. Like, she's supposed to be like the Deadshot NRS style, like annoying, super frustrating to fight zoner, and she doesn't really feel that way a lot of the times. A lot of the times, a lot of her buttons don't do enough. Same with her 5A. I think they could give her 5A more hit stun, so that you could confirm things easier off 5A, like 5A, not 5A, jump A, jump S, right? So that it's a real combo, because sometimes they just fall right out of it. It's kind of frustrating. I don't want her to be able to get ground confirms where she goes like jump A into like 5A, you know, 2S. I don't want any of that. That's crazy. But I think just giving it a better knockdown basically would really help this character a lot. Kind of set up her zoning game after you get a knockdown with something like that. Let's move on to the next character. We're going to do all the top row and then the bottom row. Enchantress. I honestly don't think Enchantress is that bad. I just think that she's very hard to play and isn't very rewarding for how hard she is to play. So I think she's not bottom tier. Okay, I think she's in the mid tier camp with a lot of the other characters like Crusader, Berserker. Maybe not as strong as them. Ghostblade, right? I think Kunoichi. I think she's as strong as like around their strength, but just has a lot more work you have to put in to play this character properly. One, I think maybe they need to give her invul on the DP, right? Where she's invul during DP, so that you can't just hit her if the bear is away from her, right? Because the bear makes the DP anywhere on screen, but if she's not near the bear when she does DP, she gets hit. The next change I kind of want is a nerf. Her air to ground confirms are really, really good. I think for how good her air to ground confirms are and air to air confirms into big damage are, I think they need to nerf the damage on the command grab. I think command grab is actually too polarized, and this character becomes, can you get them in the corner and land command grab? So it becomes this mix of like, do you try to jump out of command grab and get like jump 8 into full combo, or jump B, I don't know, the broomstick into full combo, or do you take the same amount of damage or slightly more by staying on the ground for the command throw? I think they should just take that command throw damage, because it's like 70% upwards, right? You can get like 60-70% with half meter. With a full bar meter, you can almost COD the entire cast. Slash it. Three-fourths it. Make it 3/4 of the damage it currently is, right? So instead of getting half-life, you're getting like 30%, right? 37%. Instead of getting 75%, getting like 55%, right? So it doesn't feel as polarizing as a tool. And then just kind of buff a lot of her other neutral tools. I think this character's neutral and zoning is actually really, really solid. Maybe make her fireballs just a teensy bit faster. It might kind of change some of the timing of her combos, but it might extend her combos with the fireball pressure. And I think that would be a good change for her. Make her a little more in line with those top tier characters, but without like making her too powerful, right? Like if we're gonna give her other things, we need to take away that command grab. It's too strong as it is. We'll come back to Troubleshooter. I actually don't know what changes I'd give to Troubleshooter. I think this character's like pretty solid. I don't think this character like needs much. I don't know, maybe change some of it sucks, right? I think the thing that, okay, one, I think this character is firmly right outside of the top tier. I think he's in that same camp as Berserker, Grappler, Berserker, Ranger, Crusader, and Kunoichi. I think he's right outside of that top tier fringes. Okay, I don't think this character is bad. I think he actually has some pretty good matchups against some of the other top tier characters like Hitman. I think this character does very, very well against Hitman and pretty alright against Dragon Knight. I don't think that he does well against Swiftmaster. It's kind of a buy. And the same thing with Striker. I think he does pretty bad against Striker. But so like when you look at the way this character is designed, I think he's supposed to be that glass cannon-ish character, but with like a high health bar, so that you still have ways you can like come back just because of the fact that you have so much health. So if your opponent can't like kill you off one combo, you can kind of reverse that fortune. The one change I want to give him that I can think about is changing some of the properties on some of his buttons. Some of his buttons have projectile property, which is good in certain matchups and bad in others. So like randomly, Crusader can 5M through a bunch of his things. Striker can shoulder through a bunch of his things that like honestly kind of don't make sense. But then in other matchups, the fact that they're projectile means that they can't use a counter, right? Like Crusader counter doesn't work. Lost Word counter doesn't work. Grappler counter doesn't work. But these are characters that I think he already does pretty well against anyway. So I think like losing those fringe case tools and like putting him in line closer with those characters and making him weaker, but making him stronger against the better characters is kind of a good change. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think that that's something I want for this character. I don't actually know a lot about what this character does like under the hood. I've just seen him played a lot because wonderful Lux plays him. One of the guy who bought me the game and got me into it. It's a really fun game. Now, let's go through this side now. Hitman. Oh boy, this character's neutral is phenomenal. This character is firmly top 3. I think that if we're gonna change anything about Hitman, I don't think he should be able to cancel DP gapless or without counterplay, right? There's a lot of characters who can't DP back because their DP is too short. I think they should change the counterplay around DP into Shattering Strike and Shattering Strike as a whole. Shattering Strike does so much guard damage. They should really change that. And instead of making Shattering Strike only cost 10, make it cost 20. Shattering Strike costing 20, like basically, I just want to nerf Awakening. I think outside of Awakening, this character is still a menace, but he's designed to be that way, right? He's designed to be that really easy, simple to pick up, top tier character who can carry you to wins, who can help you play the game better, right? I don't think that his toolkit is actually super overbearing, right? Because a lot of the buttons that he has that go full screen are very whiff punishable. Like if you like backdash something that he does, that she's like spraying the Uzi, you can get whiff punishes on things like this, right? He has whiff recovery. I just think that the boys are too strong. Shattering Strike and DP into Shattering Strike is too strong, specifically. They need to add more counterplay. They need to add a bigger gap so that basically every character on the roster can press a button. Cisco the Mule, thank you so much for the follow. To hear you, damn, want to hear your takes, but want to get this workout in. I'll leave a lurk though. Hey, check out the video on YouTube. It'll be up on YouTube probably later today. Basically, the counterplay for Shattering Strike is so different per character, and a lot of characters actually just don't have counterplay to it, and they get completely shut down. Giving it a bigger gap so that it becomes more of a coin toss, more of a rock, paper, scissors interaction, which is what fighting games are all about, is like rock, paper, scissors interactions, you know, level 1, level 2, level 3 Yomi, would I think make this character a lot healthier to fight against. That's the only real changes that I could see for this character. Some people would probably say to take away the triple overhead, the fuzzy overhead, where you can get like 4 overheads, 3 overheads, 5 overheads against the entire roster, basically minus Enchantress. But I don't hate that, right? That's like part of his toolkit. Unfortunately, that means that like when he's in close range, he's very powerful, and when he's in like mid range, he's very powerful. So maybe make it a little slower so that there's better counterplay. But other than that, this character as a top tier, I think he's fine. Swiftmaster, man, this character's fucked up. This character's really fucked up. I'm gonna gut this guy, okay? And I don't want to do it to the point where he's unplayable. I want to do it to the point where he's like a mid-tier character, because his design is so cool. It's so refreshing to see a character designed this way in a fighting game, but I think that it's too overbearing. I think that that's the problem. 5B should probably not be so fast for how much range it covers, right? So what we need to do is either A, change the amount of range it covers so that it is easier to backdash, or, and this is 2 different options, or give it significantly more whiff recovery. So that if you whiff 5B, right, it's so hard to whiff the button. If you whiff the button, you are punished, right? So those players who are very strong with the character, have good spacing and fundamentals, are not completely shit on, right? Sure, his movement speed is so good that you could probably do either, and this would just make the character harder to play. He wouldn't be so scrubby. He wouldn't be so simple. I don't think that tap should be a full screen plus on block combo starter that is an anti-air. Maybe either reduce the length of it, right? Because there's multiple ways you can go about nerfing this character. Either reduce the length of it, make it so that it doesn't go full screen, right? So the Swiftmaster player has to move forward or move back to get into range to make tap a viable option. I believe it's +4 or +6 right now. Change that to 0. Change that to +2. This character's not one of the fastest in the game, but he's right behind the fastest character. in the game, right? So make it so that the fastest characters in the game can check him. Make him +2. Make him 0. So that it's more of a 50-50 afterwards. Damn, bro, you streaming? I just got out of work. Yeah, I stream pretty early sometimes on Saturdays. And I think the last change I want, and these are just like very sweeping basic changes. I think the last big change I want is I want them to make it so that his dash, when you have the orb up, does not do guard damage. It should not do guard damage, and it should probably do significantly less chip. It should do no chip damage and significantly less guard damage. It is, I think it's one of the only specials, not magic skills, in the game that does guard damage. And that's fucking weird. That's very overtuned. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's fucked up. That's pretty much it for Swiftmaster. I don't want to kill him. I just want him to be like in line with the mid-tier characters and the high-tier characters, because he's a refreshing change of pace, but he's so overbearing right now. On to Ranger. I honestly can't think of anything I would change about Ranger. I think Ranger's like a very... Are we back? Did my stream die for a split second? What was the last thing I said before my stream died? Yeah, what was the last thing I said? Yeah, we back. That was weird. My internet just shut off for like a split second. I'm not sure why. If anyone can recall the last thing I said, throw it at me. Let me know. Because I can't remember the last thing okay. I can't remember. I'm too tired to think. We'll just start Ranger from the top. I think Ranger's firmly in that mid-tier / high mid-tier camp. I think basically I just don't want him to be able to guard crush you from full screen. And shit breaks. Thanks for breaking my stream. I don't want him to be able to guard crush you with Gunnerang as easily as he can, right? And I want the counterplay to his mid shot better. Mid shot is actually really annoying to deal with. It's kind of hard to jump. It's kind of hard to like run block it. Make mid shot significantly worse. Full screen super, I have no problem with that. Full screen confirms off super, no problem. Yeah, I want him. I like the way that he's designed for the most part. I just don't like how obnoxious it feels to get guard crushed when you're the person who is the aggressor, right? The aggressor, the person who is more aggressive in the matchup, is the one getting guard crushed because he has to hold Gunnerang and try to get in through it. Basically give Gunnerang the same treatment I want to give Hitman's Shattering Strike. Make Gunnerang easier to roll on reaction and make it so that if you roll Gunnerang, you can get a punish, right? Something like Crusader 5S. When you roll Crusader 5S, you get a huge punish on it. The thing is, it's not completely reactable. Gunnerang is. When you react to Gunnerang and roll it, depending on when you roll, sometimes you can't get a punish. And that really, really sucks. I think that's pretty much all I want for Ranger. Let's move over to the little lady over here, Dragon Knight. Now, I think Dragon Knight's one of the top tiers. I think if there's characters who are going to be able to win majors, it's like Hitman, Striker, Swiftmaster, and Dragon Knight. I think those are like the top 4 characters, right? Swiftmaster is probably in a tier zone, and these 3 are like right under him. Or maybe it's like Hitman. Nah, I don't think Hitman's better than Striker. I think it's like Striker and Swiftmaster, and then Hitman and Dragon Knight, the tier right under, if there is even a big enough of a gap for a tier separation. 1, Astral should do significantly less damage. The Dragon not having really scaled damage is kind of fucked up. It's too powerful. Honestly, like, I don't think that this character should have some of the best neutral buttons in the game. Among the fastest speed in the game. She's very fast, right? She's not as fast as a character like Swiftmaster in Awakening, or a character like Striker, but she's right under them. She is super speedy, runs under things, has a very small hitbox, has very like obnoxious buttons that cover full screen, like her the swing. I don't think the swing should have 0 counterplay, right? So, man, this character's hard to nerf. The loops are still going to be there, right? It doesn't matter if you nerf the damage on Astra. It just makes it so now this character, instead of being a 2-touch / 3-touch character, she's like a 4 or 5-touch character. All right, so I guess, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Let's make it so that she has 1 or 2 more interactions to win. So nerf the damage on Astra. Make her safe jump. No, I don't mind her safe jump. As annoying as it is that it's babies for a safe jump, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just nerfing the damage on Astra and making it so that Astra doesn't have as many like situations where it's actually neutral or plus on block would be nice. And then just the swing. The swing is probably really obnoxious. I don't think that swing should be completely unpunishable on block by the entire roster. It's a fucked up move, especially because it catches jumps, it catches like dash forwards. Like it's such a powerful tool, and it being completely safe is really interesting, right? Like a character that has like basically another character that has a full screen button, troubleshooter. His full screen triple gunshot is like -15 or -16 on block. So some characters can legitimately punish it if you're doing it too close. You can't punish her for it at all. I don't think there's a single character on the roster that gets a punish. If there's one more change I want, it's probably just to stop her from being also a really competent zoner. Like, she has a little bit of everything. She's got competent zoning, she's got a competent game plan at rushdown and mix-ups. Make her zoning worse. I don't think that when she uses Fireball, she should like float back, right? Because that makes it so that so many characters don't get a punish. Fireball should lock her in place. Where she does Fireball, she's stuck in place until she chooses an option. And the only option you have, right, after Fireball is another Fireball. So she goes Fireball, Fireball as a mix-up. She goes Fireball, dash forward as a mix-up, right? Or Fireball button, like landing button as a mix-up. So that if you're like late on the timing of your 2S or whatever, your anti-air attempt, she can still have some sort of play. I don't want Fireball completely ruined, but I do want it less obnoxious, because Fireball into dash leads to a bunch of damage. Fireball into jump back again Fireball is super annoying for characters who can't get in on her because of her speed, right? She has too many good tools for how strong she is. I think that her being just pushed down just a smidgen would be a big help. Kunoichi. Kunoichi is another one of those characters I don't think I could change without making her too strong. I think Kunoichi, the same way that I don't really want to change much about Ranger, I don't really want to change much about Kunoichi. I think maybe making her second jump, giving her second jump more startup would be nice, right? So that she can't just run away from characters the entire game and zone with the kunais, because a lot of characters can't really anti her. You cannot challenge her in the air because of the fact that if you try to and she presses a button, she's going to get huge damage on you, right? Like, challenging her second jump is a risk for most characters in the game, not named Swiftmaster, Lost Warrior, who else? Crusader and Berserker, right? Those are the characters who are going to be a challenger the easiest in there, and maybe Dragon Knight, right? So like making her second jump more in line with the rest of the game, because no other character in the game has a second jump, making it have slower startup, easier to hit, would probably be the only change I would give to Kunoichi, because I think Kunoichi's pretty solid. I don't think she's bad. I think she's pretty good. There's not much I would change about her. She needs a lot. She needs a lot, but she needs a little. It's weird, right? I think giving her real frames, she's pretty low tier, low mid. I don't think that she's like the worst character in the game. I don't think she's like Vanguard launchers levels of bad, right? But she's not great either. Let's go with giving her dash projectile invul. I think that might be a good change. More plus frames on Holy Water, the bottle she throws at you to oil you up on Holy Oil, on oil, right? And honestly, I think that her jump MS needs a nerf. I think her jump MS needs a nerf, right? Let's speed up 2S. 2S is a little slow, especially for her being kind of a mix-up styled character who's going to put you in wheel. And I don't want wheel sped up. I don't want wheel changed in any way. I think that Flame Carpet is pretty good too. Yeah, I just think we need 2S sped up, maybe 2A sped up, so that she has more lows to mix you up with in that situation where she has you in Flame Carpet or wheel. But to make those things not super overbearing, along with giving her more plus frames on oil so that she can land bigger combos, and oil as a, like, at the end of a combo so that she can run in and get pressure on you, so that all of that's not super overbearing. Let's make jump MS a little slower. Make jump MS a little slower. I don't even want to change the frames on it. I just want to make it slower. It might mess up some of her combos. So maybe instead we make it more minus. You have to rebalance her whole toolkit to do that, which really sucks, unfortunately. Damn. That's a tough change. Because jump MS is kind of integral for some of her combos, right? So if we make jump MS slower, that means we have to give her combo buttons more plus frames, I guess? And that should be okay. Because they're combo buttons, right? Like, hopefully these buttons don't get completely changed around, and now they become neutral tools because of how much more plus frames you have to add to make the fact that jump MS is such a good tool out of pressure sometimes overbearing. I think that's what we'll go with. That might be a bad change. Honestly, I think that might be a bad change, but we're gonna rock with it. Striker, this is a top 3. This is top 3 character. This character pretty good. This character's fucking good. Character's fucking good. Okay, same way I kind of wanted to change the way that Hitman's DP works, I want to change the way Striker's DP works. I originally was a big fan of making it so that Striker's fair, she needs no changes. Sure. I was a big fan at first of just removing her being able to cancel her DP completely, right? I don't want her to be able to cancel her DP unless it's on hit. That's what I originally used to say. But now I just want her to have a gap where if she tries to cancel her DP, you can guard cancel. But if she delays it, you get blown up. Actually, you know what? I think that completely ruins the character, right? That means she can't cancel it. Sure. Let's make it so that there's a gap on block, right? So if she tries to cancel it on block and you're just trying to do a regular string, right? You get blown up. You have to do something along the lines of a guard cancel, maybe, or a DP yourself, right? You're not going to get a super huge punish if she cancels, but it stops her from just being able to cancel it all the time and keep herself safe, right? I think that that's a better change, right? So that it becomes a mind game instead of just a straight up punish. Just the same way we're doing with Hitman. I think that would be a fair enough change. I think dive kick is really strong. I think dive kick could use a little less plus frames and probably not give you the same knockdowns it does, so that you can't just rinse people in the corner off of it. It kind of becomes a guess, right? Because this character is so fast and has such good options when it comes to pressuring the opponent that I think, hey, Death No Pain, thank you so much for the raid. I think making it so that she has to do one more guess instead of one more mix-up is probably fine. And I don't think I want to change too much else. Reverse speed is probably fine. I don't have any issues with it. It's just that. I think that those are the things that I want to change the most about Striker. Thank you so much for it. I hope the stream went well. Alright, how's the Nia of Duel going? I played a really long set. I played like an hour-and-a-half set with a friend, and now we're looking at all the characters and talking about the changes I want to make potentially before we move on to something else. I don't know what I'm going to play next. Grappler. Grappler is a very polarizing character. He wins some matchups pretty hard, and he loses some matchups pretty hard. He loses most matchups pretty hard, and then has like a few characters that he does extremely well against. This character is a struggle character, but the way that he's designed is inherently annoying. I think basically what I want to do, how's the stream? It's going pretty well. I think basically the only thing I want to do to Grappler is make it so that he has less damage. I want him to have to rinse you one more time. Because when he gets in, he two-touches basically everyone in the game, including characters like Troubleshooter and Grappler. I mean, Troubleshooter and Crusader. I think that him two-touching everyone kind of blows ballsack and change his awakening so that he's doesn't get less white life, right? Because you playing Soul Calibur? I'm not sure, maybe. I don't like that he doesn't have access to white life in low health, because not taking white life means that you can't confirm things and keep things safe. It actually nerfs him being in awakening. But to do those changes, right? And I think also you could probably make... No, that's pretty much it. As a quality of life change for like everyone who has to play against this character and play as this character, I do think that every character who has a counter, not a real DP, should be able to conversion their DP if they have white life, right? So if he goes DP and he's wrong, he should be able to conversion it. And that's kind of crazy, right? That's super insane. I kind of want to do the same thing to Lost Warrior, or maybe just give Lost Warrior DP. We'll see. That's kind of crazy, right? That's fucking nuts. So to counteract that, I want to make sure that every character in the game is actually going to get a punish on armor charge. On charge is like -8 or -6 full charge, and it pushes really far back. I think it should be something along the lines of -14 to -15, where you can actually get a real punish on it, as most characters in the game, because you should be able to dash up and do a 8-frame button, dash up, do a 10-frame button, do a 15-frame button if you have one that reaches, right? Some characters do, right? I think that every character should be able to punish armor charge, because armor charge is a full combo starter on counter hit, a knockdown on normal hit, and an anti-air. It does a lot of things. So I think that that's the only like negative change I would give him, other than scaling his damage, right? Everything else I'm totally cool with. I just want to buff his awakening. I don't think his awakening should do that. I don't know what they could do with his awakening. Maybe make it so that when he does armored moves, they don't lose to lows anymore, right? And in awakening, the only counterplay is now throw, right? That sounds cool. I'm cool with that. But to be able to give him that and take away that old drawback of not really having white life when you're in awakening, you gotta nerf his armor charge. Armor charge is probably the most obnoxious part of his toolkit. It's super reactable, right? But sometimes you have to play the game. You can't sit there forever, especially if Grappler has a lead. You can't just sit there forever. So at some point you're going to try to do something, and if armor charge just works against your character, it has so many hits of armor. It has 4 hits of armor. If you cannot crack 4 hits of armor, then you're shit out of luck, and you have to hold it as an option, and it's pretty bad, right, for characters who have to hold it, unfortunately. I can't think of another change that I want to give this character, so I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully that puts him more in line with other characters because we're giving him a few nerfs and a few buffs, but I think the buffs are better than the nerfs, right? The one nerf we're giving him, the one real nerf we're giving him, I don't think that that's going to be a problem. Crusader is my main. I don't think Crusader is bad. I think Crusader is a very solid character. I think he has a few weaknesses, and those weaknesses are by design. Now, do I think that it's good design? No. I think this character is right outside of the fringes of top tier, and all I want for Crusader basically is one of two things. Either normalize his DP, when it comes to his flaws, right? Normalize his DP, or give him the same change that I'm suggesting for Grappler. Make it so that he can RC his DP, right? Because if you're throwing him, you're gonna get the throw. Cool, whatever. But if you press buttons on him, I want him to be able to RC it and either punish you because you did something that was too big, or be safe and block, right? He loses a little bit of white life, gains some mana back, no biggie. The last thing I want, the only other thing I want, there's nothing else I can really think of. Or I guess there's two things. I want him to be able to choose when the bubble explodes, when the Holy Spear, Holy Nova explodes. So that basically you can make it a mix-up, right? Because the explosion is a mid, but the actual projectile itself is a high. So if you try to just neutral duck under it, you get hit. And I want him to be able to use it as kind of a mix-up tool where you just press 6S again, and it explodes it. No matter what he's doing, if he throws one, runs up, does 5AA and 6S again, a cancel as it were, it'll blow up the spear and give you plus frames or give you less minus frames, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's like -6 or -4. It's not super minus, but it's usually safe, right? So if you're doing like 5AA, that's -8, right? A lot of characters are maybe -10. A lot of characters can actually just straight up punish that button. So you're forced to cancel into wall. Now you can use that as a reverse mix-up to make it so that your opponent has to play another mind game, another layer with you after spear and after 5A or after 5B, 5S, whatever, right? The last change, and this is a very strong change. It's a very quirky but strong change. I want his 5A, his 5E, his 5B. I want all of his normals, because you can't cancel any of his normals in anything other than MS moves. I want all of his normals to be cancelable into 4S, into his counter. I want to give him the option for high risk, high reward, right? Where he goes for 5AA and he can go for wall, which is safe, or he can go for a counter to counter poke you, for trying to stop you from counter poking, right? Making it so that you have less options. You're gonna have to do a low in a situation like that, and maybe your low's not fast enough. He'll be able to jump out. Maybe he'll be able to backdash it, or it's a 3-way mind game. That's all I want, right? Instead of the 2-way mind game of 5A, 5AA, wall after, 5B wall, 5S wall, right? Instead of that, I would also like to add the third layer of 4S counter as an option for the character. He gets damage off of the counter. It's not super overbearing damage. It's like 4S, 5S, 6MS, right? That's all you get. Or 5MS if you want to do Heavenly Spear, or Miracle Splitter, right? Those are the options he gets off of it. Unless he has super, he's not like killing you for it, right? It's just pretty decent damage and a nice setup, puts you back mid-screen. I think it would at least it would give the character another layer of depth, right? Because he's a very simple character, and I think adding that additional layer of depth would be really fun for the character. Ghostblade. Just give his fucking dash startup invulnerability. I think this character, if he had an actual true DP, like his guard cancel is fucking crazy. If you just gave his dash startup invul, he'd already be a better character. I think that that's all this character. I'm not going to give him anything else. I'm not going to take away anything, right? I think with that change, he might become one of the best characters in the game, maybe, right? Because you're going to have to always keep that option in mind of the dash and check it with a throw after he's done dashing, right? Or he gets away to safety. But he's not actually hitting you off of DP. He's resetting neutral off his DP, right? And I think that that's, unless you're doing something really big and he gets up and he gets right behind you, right? In that instance, he's getting a huge combo, which is pretty unfair. But in the instance that you're doing something less committal, he's getting a throw, or he's just trying to check you or counter poke you, or resetting to neutral. I think that that's pretty fine. I don't know what the amount of mana it costs for the dashes, I won't lie. If it's a low amount, like say it's something like 30 or 40, maybe up to 60 or 70, to like counteract the balance of it not having startup invul, and now it does, to make it a little weaker so that it's not like just spammable. You're just like dash, 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 dash. You know, you're not doing that across the entire screen to cover space freely. Cost 50? Yeah, maybe make it 60 now instead. But that's all I want for. I think Ghostblade, he's a fun character. He's a sick character. He's super hyped to watch, and he's not very strong. He's right on the fringes of being like mid tier. I think he's like mid tier, or like, I don't even want to call him upper mid tier. Honestly, maybe he's upper mid tier. But with that one change, I think he might become one of the new top tiers in the game, and I still think that that'd be fine. Because of the way that he functions, I think that it'd be okay. Wait, I could actually be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how much it costs. But if it costs anything less than 60, just make it 60, right? So that he can't do 2 of them round start. He can't like use it to get out of pressure and then use another one to like bait your punish because it's full invul now. It might be 30 because it goes teleport follow up. Yeah, I think it should be like 60. It might need to be 60. But other than that, I don't really want to change much about him. I think he's a cool character. I think he's pretty solid. Maybe nerf the damage a little bit off of his air to ground, air to air confirms, right? Because off of his, I don't know if it's jump A or jump B, but off of one of his jump buttons, he gets pretty big damage if he air to airs you. Maybe that's the only other change you could give him, just to kind of make it so that he can't play defense and offense better than every other character in the game. Be unusable for teleporting to Ghost? No, it wouldn't. You would just need more mana. You wouldn't be able to do it and then like have a full combo at 100 mana. It wouldn't be unusable. It would just make it a lot harder. It would mean that you have to have more mana. The game has to be in the mid or late game now. It's not unusable. That's not unusable at all. No, I don't think it's unusable at all. I think that's fine. Lost Warrior's weird. Lost Warrior's a strange character. I don't think that he should be like designed as the really slow, bulky, touch of death character who's really clunky and does nothing else. I don't think it's entirely unusable at 60. With the fact making it basically a DP, I don't think it's unusable. But you're welcome to disagree. That's totally fine. I don't care if you disagree. That's fine. Speed up his 5AA. Speed up all of his neutral buttons. His 5AA, his 5B, his 2B, his 2A. Right. Speed up those buttons. Make 6S more punishable on block. Make 6M easily rollable. His counter, same deal. Give his counter conversion ability, and maybe make his 4M a true DP, but make it punishable on block. A true DP, but punishable on block is probably fine. I like the stacks, but maybe make the time stop when he's not in Awakening less. Right? If you get the full time stop and you're not in Awakening, he shouldn't be doing buku loads of like 700, 800 damage to you. Okay, but in Awakening, sure, maybe make it a little bit longer. Right? That's fine. But it being, dude, Crusader has combos where he uses a 90 MS move mid combo. Shut the fuck up. You're just wrong. It's fine to be wrong, but you're wrong. People armor up mid combo and continue to combo, and it's a viable strategy for Crusader, which means that it'll work for him as well. It's fine. It's fine. You just either go into exhaustion or you actually have to use the real inputs now. That's fine. Anyways, let me go back to Lost Warrior because you're wrong. I think that with those changes and just like making him faster, basically remove 6S from the game, right? Make 6S so punishable that it's not going to be a move that people are going to be using in neutral to just kind of check you running in, or check you backdashing, or check you, trying to press a button from somewhere where your button's not going to reach as fast as theirs. Make it significantly more punishable, right? I think it's like minus 15 right now, minus 10 right now. It's not super duper punishable if I'm not mistaken. It might be minus 15, minus 16. I don't believe it's minus 20. Make it like minus 25. Make it like a DP level of punishable. I think that move is really obnoxious for the way that it functions. I don't think that air Hadouken or air projectile should give him as many plus frames as it does, because you can air Hadouken a lot of characters into
true block strings. And that's kind of corny, right? Make that a mix-up as well, especially because he has so many air options, right? He has his air B and his air A, and then air MS like stalls him a little bit. So if you're going for something grounded to try to check him coming down, air MS just catches you, right? I think those are really the only changes I want for him. I don't want to ruin him. Like, he's such a hard character to design. I like that they tried to do something cool and fresh because Lost Warrior isn't in DFO. This is a brand new character for the game. And I want him to be designed better so that he's like a more fun character who like plays neutral and like has big damage combos and is glass cannon-y, but like doesn't just kill you off one touch. I think that that's super whack, especially with 6M being so easy to just throw out sometimes. 6M like having more counterplay to like roll and not being as plus as it is, because I think it's like +2 or +4. It shouldn't be. It should be like 0. I don't think that. And if you make it 0 and you make all of his buttons faster except for his 6S, and you make it so that his 6S basically deletes him if he's wrong, I think that it makes him a higher risk, high reward character who's not as corny. And that's all you can really ask for with this character. It's really hard to change this character without completely redesigning him. Anyways, I think that's the whole roster. That's all the characters we have, and I really hope that the changes they make are pretty cool for this character. I don't know if they will be. They might suck. It might make this character even worse. I don't know, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with trying that, right? That's the cool thing about patch culture is if you're wrong, you can just try to fix it, right? Maybe don't wait so long. 2 months was a long time to let the game sit and fester, but I think that's basically all we want to do for all these characters. I think this might be like a 2 upload because apparently my stream died in the middle of this, but if you guys play DNF Duel and you like any of these characters in the game and you have some changes you would like to make, put them down in the comment section below on this YouTube video, right? And subscribe to the channel. We talk about fighting games, fighting game hardware like arcade sticks and whatnot all the time on the channel, fighting game theory, random takes on Twitter. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTube, signing out and saying peace. Don't forget to like the fucking video. Laters.